No, this is not what we wanted. Parameters first, last. Okay, this is the overloaded call. Yeah. Weird. Yeah, I could use something like this. Should I do that? Input iterator. Huh? What does that mean, class input iterator? Yeah, but then I might need to get touch some template stuff, and I don't really want to do that. Yeah, let's just do it. Well, I'm not done with my question. My question is, what happens if you just use the equal sign with vector? Assigns a copy of vector x as new content for the vector object. Elements contained in the vector object before the call are dropped, replaced by copies in those in vector x, if any. The elements contained in the vector before the call. Okay. The receiving vector, I guess. After a call to this member function, both the vector of the same size and will compare equal to each other. Okay, great. This is weird. They should have had a better example. Three, 0, 5, 0. Okay. Anyway, pretty much says you can do that. So buffers equals inbus. Great. Don't forget that ref all the buffers. We have to keep track of the references as well. So we do end up writing a for loop. Let's make the size t. Wait a minute. I forgot what we were saying before. We want to have this an incremental function that we can call several times. So we can't do the assignment. We just want to append to the end. Like that. And we also want to what was it called? Ref count? Increment the ref count. Yeah. So good. So now we have a list of buffers. And we are ready to make the jump to the sound. And it said, yeah, make bounce sound. Make bounce sound should no longer use sine sound. Let me pull up the relevant files. They are input buffer sound .mm as well as input buffer sound .h. So this one also has a list of buffers. I know I'm starting to get it. It looks like entities have a function called getSignFreq, which I'm not sure exactly why. Maybe that's just for the sign block. Yeah, that's probably true. Okay. So when the thing is initializing, we can make our own copy of the vector. We'll need an accessor for the vector. That can be something like getBuffers. Yeah. And we'll put right here. Return inbuffs. No. Return buffers. Yeah. So that's just buffers equals E, and we will cast it to voice entity. E get buffers. Oops, I forgot about that. This will have to be star inbuffs. Forgot to add the very important pointer type. Confused because there was already pointer input buffers. Very common mistake. Yeah, but this is... I'm gonna have to take care of the mic one too. Yeah. So we're just passing around pointers, making copies. Okay, I think this will work. You will have to dereference that to get the actual vector. And now we're down to the good part, where all we have to do is actually spit something out. So we're going to need some state. We'll need size t class index, type index out, jeez, and besides the last index, we'll need the sample Why not just make that a size t? Buffer sample. So buffer index and buffer sample index. These start off at 0. For now. So we no longer need these phase things, but actually playing back a buffer is not so different. What we're going to need is, I think we can just mem copy because these are both both source and dest buffers are sint 16 stereo interleaved. So we can mem copy. Alright, so how do we do that? If we mem copy, we're not setting a volume, but it doesn't look like we're doing that here either. There's an envelope. Okay, sometimes it's good to have a fade. Yeah. Sometimes it's good to have a fade. In general, it is good to have a fade, but I suppose... what do you think? We can't mem copy because these buffers, I'm pretty sure they're not our own, so they could already have data in them. So we will have to do the standard copying over. So we can use the same fade code and define fade samples. Let me get the sign sound. That's a lot of fade samples. I don't know if we need that many. I used a large number of fade samples for the sine one because it sounds a lot nicer if sine tones sweep in slowly. But I'm just going to use 20, which is almost lightning fast. Okay. So all we have to do is going to be there's buffer index and buffer sample index. So we will need a input buffer, pointer, inbuff, and we will need a, that's all we need. And this starts out being